EToH, or JToH if you still call it that, is definitely one of the hardest games on Roblox. It contains many obbies that are called towers that can be easy to absolutely catastrophic. This is one of my favorite games on Roblox, and today I'm going to catch up with the game's updates and go to Zone 9. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe because it's free. Anyways, let's go. Tower of Astral Diffusion, located in Zone 6, is the hardest tower I'll complete on this journey. Now, obviously I'm not going to cover every tower that I complete, but this tower was probably the main one to unlock Zone 9, since you need to be remorseless to unlock Zone 9. This tower does have button progress, so you don't have to worry about falling down and losing all your progress, since you start at the top and work your way all the way to the bottom. Now, this tower does have two halves. I'm assuming they're based off of solar and lunar, based off the tower name. The second half is definitely way harder than the first, and specifically on floor 10, you only have 4 lives to complete the floor, and if you fall on the 4th life, then you will die and you have to restart the whole tower. I did unfortunately disconnect after I completed the tower, which means I had to complete the whole tower for a second time, which I did, and completed the tower. Tower of Wicked Wedges. This difficult tower in Zone 4 made me go absolutely insane. It wasn't because of the difficulty, but my frames. As you can see in this footage, it's literally at 20. How am I supposed to play the game at 20 FPS? But besides, this tower is somewhat okay. I mean, this was the last tower before I unlocked Zone 7, so I guess that's all I have to say. Let's go! This was the exact moment I unlocked Zone 7. I was thrilled, but I knew that I had to beat more towers just to unlock Zone 9. So, I mean, I unlocked it, and there's a bunch of cool towers here. But let's move on to the next tower, to get to Zone 8. Tower of Cogs and Steam. This Zone 3 tower is, well, based off of engineering stuff, such as Cogs and Steam. This tower isn't really that hard, except for the insane drop of frames I had, like all the way down to 30 and 40. And on like 4 and 9, there's like this weird time part. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, that's probably the only cool part of this tower. And then obviously on floor 10, the last thing to get to the wind pad is this very scary tightrope. But it's actually not that bad. There's the wind pad. Tower of Jazz, located in Zone 7, is a medium tower that took way too long. You may wonder why I keep spending 2 hours on these towers. It's because my Wi-Fi stinks. And also there's a really funny thing. Anyways, let's probably get better Wi-Fi. And on 4 and 9, this tower has a timer. It isn't really that tight, but it's pretty cool. And on floor 10, there's this really chill state. And it's a pretty easy tower. I would enjoy it. Tower of Conflicting Frontiers is a challenging located in Zone 6. It is way harder than its actual difficulty in my opinion. Mainly because, well, not because of like the first half of the tower, but the last 3 floors. Like, do you see how dark this is? I can barely see what is going on. Thankfully, floor 10 has a safety net, otherwise it'd be loot failures for like a whole 3 hours. Let's go chat. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes! What? Tower of Hazardous Laddering, located in Zone 6, is an intense tower that took a little longer than expected to be, but it was pretty fun. And had a very unique structure of being like a ladder. This tower doesn't have much except saying that there's a safety net every 2 floors, and floor 9 and 10 are kind of like TOAF's floor 10, where you only have 3 lives to complete it, where you have to face a minor punishment of going all the way back to floor 7. Tower of Destructive Fever, located in Zone 7, is a tower mainly based off of CO objects called push objects. Well, I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory. You push them and they fall over. There are some really interesting floors utilizing these mechanics, and they are actually pretty cool. And they could come into extremely cool use. But basically that's all what this tower is, in my opinion. There's nothing much to say. And on floor 10, my frames did drop by like a lot. It went all the way down to at least a good 17. But there's nothing really much to say. Good tower. Tower of Break It Buy It is a tower located in Zone 6 that has some interesting gameplay and interesting storytelling. I mean, this tower does include many fun gimmicks and was, in my opinion, a little longer than I thought. There were some extremely funny moments that probably wasn't that funny, like this room, and many other things that I can't really think of right now. Besides, this tower actually wasn't that bad. I guess it was a little rough and long to play because it really was a little annoying. But other than that, this tower was okay for its difficulty. I mean, I wouldn't say I loved it that much, but it was way too long and annoying to play. Tower of Stairs to Spare is a very simple, challenging tower that was very easy at first, but then once you got further, was more stressful and hard, especially 4-5/6, which literally was just like a maze. I had to look up a YouTube tutorial just to do it. And 410 had this part where you have no safety net. You just have to hope that you don't fall, and you do everything right. And it was very stressful, but I did it, so I guess I'm really happy now. Go, GG! Tower of Traversing the Tropics is a tower located in Paradise Atoll, which is a sub-realm in Zone 1. This tower utilizes with a lot of client objects, which I don't really like, but had some interesting gameplay, which made me take a very long time on this tower, but not too long. I mean, it was a little annoying at some parts, but I did understand it later. This tower also has a weird structure. Floor 1 is floor 1, and then you go all the way up to floor 10, which is floor 5, but then you get teleported into floor 5, which is floor 6, and you go all the way back to floor 1 as floor 10, which is kind of weird for me, but I don't really care, because I'm not a creator. And then also, this tower is split into two sections, land and sea, based off the green and blue color, and the second section, the blue colored area, is in my opinion way harder than the first half, because there's more puzzles and it's way more confusing than it should be, which is why I think it's more intense than peak challenging, but that's just my opinion, and I might just have a skill issue. And that's what I have really to say about this tower. I mean, it's cool. GG! I beat it off stream, why? Tower of Quirky Contraptions, located in Zone 3, has a lot of quirky contraptions. Every floor has some sort of new quirky contraption, like floor 2, where you have 4 rotating pillars to jump on and do a section just to get on another pillar, which is taller than the other, which you couldn't access before. Fast forward to floor 6, you have to do this really intricate puzzle where you have to push the whole moving platform just so you can move a teleporter into a small box, which you then have to do parkour just to get to the teleporter, so you get to another section and repeat that 4 times. Luckily, there is a safety net right after this puzzle, because oh my god, I hated it so much. I wanted to rip every single strand of hair out of my head. After this, there really isn't much more to talk about. There's just some more new quirky contraptions, and on floor 10, it just reviews every quirky contraption you experience in the tower. And this tower actually wasn't that bad, but I still hated it because of how annoying some of the puzzles were. I literally had to look up a YouTube tutorial just to do it. Tower of Cylindrical Extensions, located in Zone 7, is very interesting. Every 2 floors you have to click a button just so you can progress even farther, and there really just isn't much to say about this tower. I mean, there are some cool gimmicks, but there isn't really much else to say. It's a very basic tower, and I did loop fail it a little bit. It does have a cool tower structure and color scheme, but that's all I can say about this tower because there isn't really anything cool or epic. Well, I just not got my time, but did you win? I won! I won! I won! Yes! 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 After completing Tower of Cylindrical Extensions, I unlocked Zone 8, Pluto. I was absolutely happy because I was one step closer to unlocking Zone 9. You can really tell how happy I was based off my reaction. And this was a pretty cool zone, but compared to Zone 9, this is nothing in comparison. Tower of Melons in Time, located in Zone 8, is a very interesting tower because of its structure and theme. I believe this is themed around Plants vs. Zombies, which I personally really like, and I know a few of my friends do like too. Now this tower was really easy to understand, even though the mechanics were sometimes a little hard to learn, but I did really like its theme, like I said mentioned earlier, and that's all I can really say about this tower, because there's really nothing else more interesting about this hard tower. I mean, it's just a hard tower, come on. Tower of Cosmic Ties, located in Zone 8, is a hard tower that I thought was baseline difficult. Now, the only reason I thought this tower was difficult, mainly because I didn't know that I was skipping a checkpoint in tower, which is an invisible box you have to touch in order to complete the tower or you get kicked out of the game. This happened to me 5 times. Now, besides that issue, this tower was actually really cool, and I can't imagine a game without this tower. 10 out of 10. Tower of a Tetramino Disaster, located in Zone 8. It's a tower themed around Tetris. Now, every floor has a little minigame you have to complete, and these minigames are actually pretty cool. And besides the minigames, the tower itself is also really cool. It specifically utilizes this one mechanic where you have to slide on a wall by hugging it, and if you want to get off, you have to stop hugging it. And sometimes this mechanic can be used crazily. I really like the music, I like the design with the weird tower structure, and I just really like how the gameplay goes. This tower is probably going to get another 10 out of 10. Okay, now it's been 3 months since the last time I played this tower, but basically, this tower was absolute heck. I'm going to be honest, I hated it because it was just so annoying. Now, the first few floors weren't actually that bad. I say they were actually difficult. 4 or 5 was just the choke point of all of my runs and probably the reason why it took me 6 hours to complete this whole tower. Now, this floor just requires you to jump onto these teleporters and then find these buttons that are near the teleporters, like this one. But sometimes you got so unlucky and landed in the same spot so many times. However, once you do get all the buttons, you then go through this area, which once you climb up this horribly made parkour area that's meant to be a ladder, this is not a ladder, you then arrive to this elevator thing, which was absolute heck too. Because I don't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure these hitboxes are scripted, because there's no way that I keep hitting these hitboxes and this tight gap over here. Like, this is probably like the arch nemesis, number 2. Although once you do pass this very tight gap, you then do some parkour like you do, and you get into this maze, which was relatively easy, and you go up to floor 6. Now, 6 to 7 weren't that bad, actually. They were, even though they were a little long, they weren't that bad. And I get to 8, and on 8, I disconnect. And unfortunately, I did lose the footage for the winning run originally, so I did have to repeat it just for this video, okay? Be happy, guys. Subscribe. Then basically 8 to 9 is nothing interesting, and then floor 10 you have another floor 5 teleporter thing, which is really annoying. After getting all 3 buttons, you then have to do some simple parkour and eventually you get to the win pad, which I messed up a few times. Eventually I get to the last tap rope, which is literally right before the win pad, and I just fell. What the hell? Okay, but like I said, you do this last tightrope and you get to the win pad. Hooray, you beat probably the worst difficult ever in the game. I am going to be brutally honest, I don't really have anything to say about this tower. I'm sorry. This tower was, to be honest, just very generic, but I really do like the design and the somewhat storyline there is in this. But there really isn't much for me to talk about in this tower. I just feel like there really wasn't anything interesting. This was just an average tower for me. I'm sorry. This tower is good, okay? I'm gonna be honest. Oh, and yeah, I mean, the ending is cool, to be honest. I did have a heart attack thinking that I completely missed the win pad and had to restart the tower again.
I thought I missed it. Let's go! Easy win! Oh my god. Let's go. Easy W to chat. W's in chat. W. Oh, yeah, I remember this tower. This is that one tower in zone 9.
I'm going to be completely honest, as the same thing as the last tower. I don't really remember much from this. All I remember is, like, the puzzles were great. I mean, the tower design looked okay. I mean, it was just a really mediocre tower, but it was like a higher mediocre tower. It was a good tower. And also, I did fall outside a few times, so that kind of sucked. But this tower was good, I guess.
really isn't much to say about it, but let's just keep going.
No! Let's go!
Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I did not like this tower. I just had a horrible experience with it. The tower is cool itself, but I just did not like it at all, okay? I mean, the concept of the tower is really cool. As you progress through the floors, there's this wind that blows you off the edge, forcing you to move so you don't get blown off the edge. Now, this was really all this tower basically had. I mean, it was a really cool tower, by the way. I just wanted to say that. But the wind made me just so mad, man. I couldn't even do some of the stuff because of the wind. It was just so annoying. No offense, okay? Once I believe you get to around floors 4 to 5, you go through this factory thing. I mean, this factory section was really cool, by the way. I just want to say this factory was absolute cinema. But I would like to say that I did get disconnected from the tower, which is one of the reasons I had a horrible experience with this tower. When you get out of the factory, the wind is now very strong, and you go through this Atlantan Isles thing. I mean, the theming of this tower is really cool. And then this last floor is this dark, kind of like very powerful wind section, and you really got to control yourself so you don't fall off the edge. And this was the reason I just did not like this tower at all. I spent over 90 minutes on this floor alone, and I got disconnected and I got back here again. Yes, yes, yes! Oh my god, please! Finally! 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 Oh my god, yes! That sucks! I don't want to play that game again. Tower of Hiwana Caves, I hope I said that right, is an intense tower that I genuinely loop failed so many times, as you can see in the video. Oh my god. And to be honest, this tower didn't really have anything special except that it was like a horizontal tower like TLCI. And also it's, I guess, like Japan themed or something, because it even uses Stay With Me as one of the 4 songs. I don't know how they got past that with the copyright system. But besides, this tower is very interesting. I didn't really have any like special things to say about it, to be honest. So yeah, it's a cool tower. GGW tower. Tower of Never Ending Fun was completely wrong because I didn't have fun at all. I definitely had the worst experience on this tower ever. First of all, I literally failed the outside sections so many times. Even though it's not shown here, I failed it so many times off camera. The only reason I was still playing this tower is because there were checkpoints, which were a lifesaver. Oh my gosh. But besides that, once you get past the first checkpoint, you basically get the point of the tower, and it becomes slightly easier, and it becomes way more enjoyable. And also, there were just some really small gimmicks that I thought were really cool. And yeah, so this tower, yeah, it's very cool. I don't really have a great opinion on it because of my horrible experience. Let's go! Tower of Angled Scenery was a very angled tower and really made me very tilted, because this tower, I generally could not explain how many times I loop failed almost every single floor. I don't know how that's possible, but the good things about this tower is that there were some interesting puzzles, and floor 9 basically is like 3 sections which test your speed, your reaction time, and other stuff. I'm not really sure, I don't remember, but it was really cool. And also there was a boss fight, and that was very epic. But I did die there once, so that kind of sucked. But besides that, the ending slide was also really cool. So that's all I can say about this. Tower of Mechanically Induced Mayhem was one of the laggiest towers I ever played. I literally had a consistent 30 frames per second playing this tower, making it almost impossible for me to complete. Putting the lag issues to the side, this tower was very interesting. There was a lot of mechanically induced mayhem, like the tower says, like a bunch of mechanics and stuff. And genuinely, I think all of those features were put into use very well, although I did have the worst experience with it, taking my winning run to be almost 1 hour long. And don't get me started on floor 9 and 10, because even though there is no floor, if you do fall, you'd be catastrophically sent back to floor 7, which We then have to do floor 7 and floor 8, which is a stressful timer. We have to get to the top of the tower before the roof closes just to unlock floors 9 to 10 again. And floors 9 to 10 itself are also just very difficult, being almost pitch black and the gameplay just being very hard for me, as you can clearly tell from me struggling in this video. I did complete it even though my mic didn't work, but I was able to record my reaction on my phone when I was playing on my iPad.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God. Yes, yes.
Tower of Pleasant Fantasies took me way longer than expected. I don't know why, but I was just loop failing every single floor. Like, these floors are not even that difficult, and I'm just loop failing them every single time. I don't know, here are some floors that I loop failed on. But besides that, this tower has a very aesthetic look, and I kind of like it. Except, I don't know, I just had a really bad experience loop failing almost every single jump. I don't even know that's humanly possible. Alright, here's my completion.
GG, oh my god.
And for my final tower, I did... Tower of Horrifying Experiences was actually horrifying. This tower, I gotta be honest, was a great tower. Even though I spent almost 2 hours on it, I still really like this tower. It was just a little bit dark for me, but the gameplay mechanics work really well. And this tower was definitely a good tower for me to end off before unlocking Zone 9. Staying on the topic of the tower, the last few floors really just was jam-packed with puzzles that I, to be honest, really like the balloon puzzle and this go-kart racing thing. I don't know. Anyways, here's my completion. And after that, we'll go check out Zone 9.
Let's go, come on. Let's go!
Here's my
150?
live reaction to Zone 9.
Hey, that's what we're talking about, boys. Oh my god. Yo.
As you can probably tell, this area is absolutely stunning, and I don't know what else. This journey was definitely worth it to unlock Zone 9, even though it was completely filled with absolute pain and treacherous stuff. But to be honest, hope you enjoyed watching this video, and well, I'll see you until Zone 10. Okay, so EToH here on 2025. Zone 10 has released about a while ago, and I already unlocked it without completing any towers. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.